Hello class, and welcome to Chapter 6 for Advanced Accounting Information Systems, Purchase and Payments Business Process. Our learning objectives for this chapter are 1. Describe the business activities that comprise the purchase and payment process. 2. Develop an activity model of the purchase and payment process using BPMN. 3. Understand and apply different activity modeling options. 4. Develop business rules to implement controls for the purchase and payment process. 5. Develop structured models for the purchase and payment process using UML class diagrams. And 6. Implement a relational database from the UML class diagram of the purchase and payment process. So a quick review of our purchase and payment accounting. Debit to purchases or inventory and credit to accounts payable when we make the purchase, and debit to accounts payable, credit to cash, and possibly purchase discounts if there's a purchase discount that we took advantage of. So again, we're going to utilize the Sunset Graphics model, and their purchase process is 1. Research prices and product availability. 2. Select the best price and availability combination and send a purchase order to the supplier. 3. Receive the items from the supplier and record the purchase and accounts payable. 4. Pay the supplier according to the credit terms. Basic purchases BPMN activity model. Request prices and availability, place purchase order, receive items, and then send payment. We record the purchase when we receive the items. So if we have a swim lane model here, we have Sunset and the suppliers, and you can see the back and forth here. Sunset requests prices and availability to the supplier provides prices and availability to Sunset. Sunset places order, sends that to the supplier sends items to Sunset, and then Sunset sends payment to the supplier. So if we look at the swim lanes in this diagram, we have the buyer function, the receiving function, and accounts payable function for Sunset, and the supplier, which we're not going to put the actual actions, but just what we see on Sunset's side. So we start with placing an order, that's performed by the buyer. Receiving receives items, assesses the items. If they're okay, we place it in inventory. If they're not, we send it back to the supplier. Once it's in inventory, AP waits 30 days or whatever the payment terms might be and pays supplier. So we can see our examples for purchase process controls. So for placing an order, our intention is to order products from reliable suppliers at the best available prices to meet required delivery time. Our partner or authority action, manager approval required for orders greater than $5,000. Partner ordering products must not manage inventory. Access controls, our partner preparing purchase orders cannot modify product inventory records, receive items, or pay suppliers. Right? We don't want somebody to have access both to buying, inventory, and payment, because that could result in a larger probability of misappropriation of company assets. Application controls, a system must provide purchase order, number control, default values, range and limit checks, and create an audit trail. So for receiving items, our intention is to record receipt of items promptly and accurately. Partner receiving items must not be the same partner that ordered the items. Partners receiving items cannot modify purchase orders or inventory records. They cannot view purchase order quantity ordered information. And for application controls, a system must only allow partner to enter the number of items received, subject to the range and limit checks on quantities received, date of receipt defaults to current date. So here's our basic purchases UML class models. Purchase orders are commitments to purchase from the supplier. Receipt document and receipt of items from the supplier when purchase is recognized. And cash disbursements pay for one or more receipts. Right? We can pay for one or more receipts. If we owe for multiple orders, AP can write a check for all of those orders in one. And just as a note, if you're doing AP, you should be sure to reference the orders that you're paying so that the supplier on the other side can actually reconcile that payment to their records. Revised purchase UML class diagram. So here we have purchase orders and receipts collapsed into one purchases event. Added product categories type image as defined in Chapter 5. And added supplier categories type to show sunset partner responsibility for categories. So we have I'm sorry for the back and forth. A one-to-one relationship between purchase orders and receipts allows the two events to be collapsed into one. Implementing. Database will contain 8 tables to implement classes and 1 linking table for the relationship between purchases and products. So posting foreign keys example. Foreign keys implements links for one-to-many relationships. So supplier number posted to purchases and partner number posted to purchases. That way we can search purchases based on supplier or partner, as in the buyer of the company, so we can see what all of our suppliers are doing in purchases. We can see what all of our partners are doing in purchases. So here we have our database relationships. Again, it looks complicated, but it's not that complicated. We could reproduce this based on the work that we did in Chapter 4. We can see some of the links here, such as product category number is also in products table. The product number and the purchases tables, or the products and the purchases tables, are primary keys in this linking table, purchase items. We have account number, a primary key in bank accounts, and a foreign key in cash disbursements. So we can see all these links. Are there any relationships missing? And how would we implement it? Pause the video for a second and see if you can determine which relationship might be missing. Welcome back. And the missing relationship is actually the relationship between supplier categories here and partners, which is here. Post the partner number in the supplier category. So we want to know which partner handled each supplier category. Did you notice the similarities between the sales process and the purchase process? Hopefully you saw some. And ultimately, these database tables, once you get a hang of it, the links are not that complicated, and you can see how information would flow through an accounting information system, and that's the key here. We want to know how this information flows through and be able to understand that when we're using the accounting information system, and that's the key, and that's why we're going to build a simple one and explain it for our project. So I want to thank you for viewing Chapter 6. I want to pray that God blesses you all this week. And as always, if you have any questions, please let me know.